that it was, tell me what was your? American owned. Then I said, well, it was built in Ireland, so it's an international night. And it's a very special night because you've given up the season finale of Dawson's Creek for this, while they get a third chair here. And, you know, I was a member of the Titanic Enthusiast Society long before it was a cool thing. Now it is. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce you to the authors of Ghosts of the Abyss. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, you surely will. We have tonight Don Lynch and Ken Marshall, rhymes with pal, and James Cameron. I'm going to give them a few questions that they will answer, and then we'll open it up to you all, and after which you can get your books signed as well. So, all right. So, gentlemen, tell our audience here what makes this a unique addition to the Titanic library.
I get the honors, huh? Gosh, and he's the author. Oh gosh, what makes this book different is without a doubt the fact that for the first time ever, we've been able to go deep inside the wreck and see wonderful things that have never been seen before. Into first-class staterooms, way down into the reception room and first-class dining saloon. Major historical discoveries, the greatest of which, in my opinion, would be finding the intact remains of the Marconi silent room. It was in the silent room where the transmitting equipment was for the Marconi system, and everybody's aware of the vital role that the wireless system played that night in saving all those souls out there. And inside this silent room, we found the remains of the various bits of equipment that actually powered this apparatus, including the spark, the disc discharger, which Titanic actually had a unique version of that disc charger. So it was a big thrill to find that among many other surprises inside the ship. I'll pass it over to Don, and maybe he can elaborate.
Well, I could elaborate also. Ken is our visual person, which is why I handed him the microphone originally. But seeing things like the dining room windows and the reception room windows still intact was fantastic. A lot of those rooms had never been photographed on the Titanic. They'd always used photographs of the sister ship. And so we were pleased to find that some things were the same, some things were different, which we didn't know. And just to find the actual condition of the ship inside, it was just thrilling to be able to see all of that. Jim, do you want to add to that?
Well, I'd just like to point out that even though I got introduced as one of the authors, obviously I'm not one of the authors, so I did write a foreword. But so I get to be a little bit objective here, but I think that this was a great opportunity. Ken and Don together have done some of the best work, I think, in bringing the Titanic story to life in the past, and their book, The Illustrated History, if you don't have that, is a must. And it was the inspiration to me for wanting to make the film. And I think this book has provided an opportunity for them to tell the same story in more detail and in a different way and through a completely different window, if you will, into the story of Titanic. You know, we went down and together, because Dawn dived. I think you made 2 dives and Ken made 4 dives out of the 12 in the series. So, you know, here they are writing with kind of great authority that they may not have had before, having seen the wreck not only from the outside, from the submersible where you can look out the porthole and see it, but from the inside as well through the eyes of the ROV, or the eye of the ROV, I should say. And Ken was instrumental in helping us get some of the amazing lighting that you see in these photographs. Not only did he do great work in archiving the photos later and in using Photoshop to kind of bring them to life and mosaic them together, which I think is, you know, part of the raison d'etre of the book is not just the story that's told, but the way it's told visually. And, you know, major props to Ken for really pulling the raw imagery that we got on the expedition together and making it much more beautiful. But he was there. He was helping actually do the lighting. He was in Mir 2 while we were, you know, quote unquote inside, while I was flying the vehicle on the inside and saying, you know, I think I'm in A37, try to get the light into A37, and he would know where he was. And to put this in context, it's fine to know the wreck, but to know the wreck and be able to direct an 18-ton submersible while you're looking through a porthole about this big, when you're in pitch blackness and you know there's no sunlight, no reference points, and it's just a big rusty structure, that's pretty amazing. And Ken could really be counted on for that. And Don was an integral part of the expedition as well, providing kind of site intelligence before the fact on the different rooms that we were going into and who was there. So when we were seeing this furniture, seeing these artifacts, we knew who had handled them and so on. So it really helped us in the process of the expedition, and then we gave all that information to them, and they produced this beautiful book from what we had done on the dive. So it was a great symbiosis, I guess you'd say.
Let me ask, gentlemen, from the, as opposed to just being a keepsake of the film, what's special about the book? Why should we have the book, and what are we going to find in there that we won't get from simply the movie?
Text. Well, it's I'm trying to think, because I've seen the film like 5 times already, and I've only read the book once probably. But there are different areas covered, but of course when you see the film, you know, if you were to do a freeze frame, you know, you're not going to be able to get as good an image as if you actually have the book in front of you. And so, you know, it's something you can sit down and study, whereas the film you can enjoy, but the film is fluid. You know, it's liquid, you're going to watch it, it's moving, and this is something you can actually, say, pause, freeze frame, whatever, and really study the book. And I believe that there are some of the things in the book that weren't as featured as strongly in the film.
Yeah, it's the book gives us an opportunity, of course, to go into greater detail. And as Jim pointed out, one of the things that I really enjoyed doing was, and that you can't do in the video footage, is to take freeze frames of a pan, for example, a video pan, like across the gymnasium up on the boat deck, or of the reception room window down on D deck. And although you see it in Ghost of the Abyss, the movie, in a couple of windows on the screen, what I did was to take various freeze frames and blend these together into a nice seamless vertical mosaic for the window, for example. And the gymnasium roof, and showing how that has collapsed since the wreck was found. I was very excited to work on that. It wasn't a happy picture to work on, but and the results were rather stunning to me. You never really know how the mosaic is going to turn out until you've completed it. And what is frustrating is the fact that there was such a limited amount of time to put the book together. There was so much to pack in, and only a few months to really create it. And I could have done so many more of those mosaics. I've just got grand ideas for so many more things that I could do for the ship, images from the ship. But that's the thing that you won't see in the movie is some of these mosaics and the opportunity to get into the detail and dissect some of these more technical parts of the ship that really wouldn't be understood too much to a general audience for the film. The film, of course, had to be made for a little bit more of a general audience, and the book, we had that opportunity to get into more detail.
Yeah, I think it's about the detail. You know, the film is 60 minutes long, and it's a lot of story to tell in a short time about both the story of the expedition itself and the story of the Titanic and her passengers and so on. And you know, in the book, Don and Ken are able to relate the images and structure it in a manner that kind of tells the story of Titanic and the people that were on board in a much more, you know, coherent and detailed way. The film's like a stone skipping across the surface of the water.